What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It's time to continue my 2023 schedule preview and projected records for the 2023 college football season. We continue them with the Boston College Eagles. Here's the schedule last year for this Boston College team. The overall record for this team going 3-9 overall last year in 2022. So yeah, kind of a rough year for Boston College last year in the 2022 season. This is a team that I wasn't high on heading into last year. You look at who they played in the non-conference. They played the Rutgers out of the Big Ten, ended up losing that one there. Then they played, of course, Maine, and then, of course, they played UConn on the road. And they also played Notre Dame, so they had a pretty tough non-conference schedule, of course, playing, one group of 5 team on that schedule, and then, of course, 2 Power 5 teams. I kind of consider Notre Dame a Power 5 team, so they did have a pretty tough non-conference schedule last year. And again, there will be no divisions in the ACC this year. You look at who they played in the Coastal Division last year. They played Duke there at home. That's a game they probably could have won, but, Duke was definitely a surprise team from last year. So, all in all, the schedule, was pretty tough last year for this Boston College team. Of course, with Florida State and Clemson and Wake Forest on the schedule. And then you had Notre Dame on the road. So, they had a really tough stretch there also. From October the 8th to November the 4th, losing 4 games in a row. They ended up picking up a win, though, against Louisville and NC State. That was their only couple wins last year in the ACC. But overall, a 3-9 record last year for this Boston College team. Let's now look ahead to 2023. Here's the schedule for this Boston College team heading into 2023. And you look at who they'll play in the non-conference this year. They'll play NIU, Holy Cross in both Week 1 and number 2. They'll get both of those games to start out the year. And then of course, they'll play Army here on the road. That's going to be kind of a tough non-conference game because we know Army likes to run out the clock. And then they'll play UConn once again. And this time they will get them at home this year. That will be on October the 28th. So, non-conference schedule, not all too tough than it was last year. And if you look at this schedule overall, you look at it, no Clemson or North Carolina on this schedule. That's the good news there. But they still have to play Florida State here at home. I mean, at least it's a home game for them. But again, no Clemson, no North Carolina on this schedule. So that's the good news there. Let's now go game by game since there are no divisions in the ACC this year. So they'll start their season off here with a couple non-conference games. These are cupcake games, I believe, for Boston College. And I think, you got NIU here in Holy Cross. So there's a pretty good chance that Boston College could start out overall at 2-0 with these 2 cupcake games here at home. And then you open up ACC play here with Florida State here on September 16th. That will be a tricky game there, but at least it's a home game for Boston College. Then they'll play Louisville here on the road. They beat Louisville last year. Going to be kind of a tougher game here this year for Boston College, just depending on where they are from last year. Then they'll play Virginia here on September the 30th. They're kind of a mess right now. Then they'll play Army here on the road, and we know Army likes to run out the clock a lot, and that really they run out the clock a lot, and that's going to be a triple option thing for this Boston College defense. They'll get this one on October the 7th. It's a potential losable game here, I believe, for them. Then they'll play Georgia Tech after that on October the 21st. They get a bye week before playing this game. A Georgia Tech team that was really improving from last year. Then they'll play UConn here on October the 28th. Then they'll play Syracuse here on a Friday, November the 3rd. That will be a road game for them. Then they'll play Virginia Tech on November the 11th. Then they'll play a Thursday night game here with Pittsburgh on the road. That would be a tough one there. And then they'll end things out here with a Friday night game against Miami. So they do have to play back-to-back weeknight games here. The only back-to-back road game, though, is Army and Georgia Tech. Those are not really tough back-to-back road games. But again, no Clemson or North Carolina on this schedule. That kind of sets up the schedule a little bit nicer for Boston College to have a really good season. Let's now get to the projection here for this Boston College team. This is the scale I use for my projections. If it's a 1% game, these are games where Boston College has no chance of winning in. 20% in the orange. These are games that are going to be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs, about double digits. 40% in the yellow. These are games where Boston College is going to be a heavy underdog in, about, a touchdown, 50-50 games. These will stay in the white. Games where they can go either way. 60% they'll be at least favored by about a touchdown. 80% they'll be favored by a couple touchdowns. In the blue, about double digits. And then 90% games, these are going to be the games where they're going to be favored by more than 3 touchdowns. And these are going to be the easy wins as well for this Boston College team. So we're going to start with the easy wins here. I believe for Boston College, I think you can favor them in 2 of those games by more than 3 touchdowns. That's NIU and Holy Cross. They both get these games at home. It'd be a really big shock if they did lose both of these games and also lose one of those games, but I think they really should take care of business between both of these 2 games, and these are cupcake games, so I think I'm kind of expecting Boston College to start out 2-0 on the year. If they do get these 2 wins here before opening up with ACC play, it would be really good for them if they started out 2-0 on the year, though. They have no business to lose both of these games. We go to games now where Boston College is going to be at least favored by a couple touchdowns, or also the purple at least favored by a touchdown. Well, let's start with the blue games here. I think you got 2 of them. Army on the road, and then you got UConn here at home. Obviously, Army likes to run out the clock, and plus this is a road game. I got to put this one here in the blue. I mean, that will be a game that, Boston College's offense will be seen much on the field. And then UConn, I know they went to a bowl game last year, but with it being a home game, we don't know how good UConn's going to be after that bowl game from last year. And we don't know if they're going to still continue that way or not. But I think I can favor Boston College in this game by at least at double digits here in this one. And I think Boston College will be favored by a couple touchdowns in both of these games. So those are your 4 wins there in the green and blue. Let's now go to the underdog games. I don't have any purple games, I believe, on this schedule for Boston College. So let's go to the games where they're going to be underdogs in. I don't have any red games here on the schedule, but for 20%, I think you got almost the majority of their schedule. Florida State, Louisville, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and then Miami here. I think all these games, Boston College will be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs just based off of where they were last year. Florida State's got a lot of production coming back. Louisville, we don't know how good they're going to be. I'm going to make this one a couple touchdowns of underdogs. I would put this one in the 50-50 games, but based off of Louisville from last year and the finish they had, I'm going to put this one here in the orange. And then Syracuse, Pittsburgh, both road games, but these are really tough road games to call. And then you got Miami here. I would put Miami also in the 50-50 games and also the yellow perhaps, but I'm going to stick with it here and put it in the orange. And I think all these games are pretty much orange games for Boston College based off of where they had their season from last year. But the rest of the games here for Boston College, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech, I think these are games where they can go either way. These are 50-50 games. Obviously, Georgia Tech will be a road game, but I think that's still a game that can go either way. And Virginia Tech were both messy teams from last year. I don't know how good they're going to be just yet. I don't know how good especially Virginia is going to be just yet, or Virginia Tech. But Georgia Tech, they could be some kind of decent team this year. It'd be a sneaky good team in the ACC, but I think all these games are 50-50 games. So let's now get to the projected record for this Boston College team. Not my official prediction. This is simply a projection based on this schedule. So if you look at the games that they're favored in and also the games that they are underdogs in, including all those orange games and the 50-50 games here, you get an overall projected record here for this Boston College team at 6-6 for 2023. So yes, I have them winning 6 games as of right now. It's just because the schedule kind of sets up nicely for them because you look at it, no Clemson or, North Carolina on this schedule, plus no NC State. I mean, that's the good news there. You don't have to play really any of the top teams from last year, including North Carolina and Clemson. I think this schedule really sets up nicely for Boston College to have a really good season. But as of right now, this is the projection. I think best case scenario would be probably 7-5. Maybe worst case would be probably 5-7, but it would be a much better record than it was last year at 3-9. So that's my overall projected record for this Boston College team at 6-6 for 2023. Let me guys know what you think about this Boston College team down in the comments below. What do you think their worst case scenario will be? What do you think their best case scenario is for 2023? And stay tuned here for more sports content on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.